Okay, YouTube, so I'm just gonna go over this real fast. I wanted to show you what I made for my exciter on my alternator. Now, if you looked up for Chevy to excite your alternator, there was a guy, he had a Monte Carlo, he has 3 versions. It's pin 4, it's the sense wire. Look it up on your particular alternator, but this is for the oval alternator, which is, it has oval 4-pin plug on the back of the alternator. There's an older model, and then there's a 2-pin oval and 4-pin oval, but they're the same. You want the sense wire, and I believe this will also work with Toyotas, Suzuki's, from what I've researched, because they all have the sense wire. And I believe this will work on just about any sense wire. I haven't tested it, so don't quote me on that. This worked on my GMC Savannah, it'll work on that dude's Monte Carlo. It'll basically work on any GM Chevy that uses that same alternator with that oval plug. Now, because my Savannah only is a 2-pin, I had a 4-pin alternator. She's begging for her food, but she has to wait. That's what that noise is. Because he needs to finish, the dominant one needs to finish eating. And he's almost done. And he eats very slow, because he's older. Anyways, the 4-pin oval alternator, it's pretty common. And then there's a 2-pin oval connection. So, anyways, mine lacked the 4-pin, so I went to AutoZone, bought the 4-pin connection piece. Okay, it was like $30. I spliced it in. Okay, spliced it in, and then I ran a cable, which you will see later in this video, from the back of my alternator. From that 4-pin to my battery. And basically, what I'm doing here is I'd rather have full control. So basically, by putting 2 diodes in, you're getting 15.5 volts. And when it's hot, you're probably getting about, I want to say 15.2 volts. That's too much for 10 batteries. I don't want to keep replacing my batteries. I mean, they'll probably still last a good while, but I only want the voltage when I'm losing voltage, when my system is extremely obnoxiously loud. Otherwise, without that sense wire, your alternator goes into a default mode, goes into like at 14 at cold and 13.5 at warm. And average, I'm going in between 13.3, 13.5. So basically, the white toggle, or in this case the white switch, is basically a bypass, which bypasses the circuit. The diode, it then goes from this line to this line here. Basically, that is no matter what, if that, sorry, everyone's blowing me up. If this is off, then your switch allows it to go through one diode. And then if this next switch is on or off, it'll go through the second diode. So that will give you 15.4, and then if you only do one diode, it gives you about 14.6 to 14.4 when it's warm. So you have full control, as opposed to constantly running 15 volts, because I feel like I don't want to keep replacing my battery. And so all it is, if you look, it's just a straight circuit. Your back of the alternator, or your battery voltage goes here to here. That's one diode, and remember, the white switch is a bypasses that. And then the other switch is from here to here, which can bypass that. If not, if you have both of them off, it goes straight in a loop, just like that. So, and now let's go look at the inside of the car. Okay, YouTube. So, let's look at this. Okay, so there's, I hate, even I hate it when people make these videos and they can't show you what they're talking about. Okay, so see the 4-pin harness right there. You see the white wires. Okay, only the 2 middle ones are connected. The other one goes to nowhere. Basically, I spliced it in, and it goes to this wire right here. Yes, it's a speaker wire, solid copper speaker wire. It technically isn't engine rated. I mean, like, it's not. I mean, in this bundle, it's been doing pretty good, even in the hot California heat. So I'm not complaining. Goes over here, connects straight to the battery. That pin's supposed to technically go to the alternator, to the back of the alternator, but connecting it to the back of the alternator, it's kind of a bitch, so I just said, fuck it, do the battery. You got your 12, 13 volts. And that's the black stuff's electrical tape, whatever. So then I used pure oxygen-free 14-gauge wire, which also is not technically engine rated, but it's oxygen-free. It's copper, it's gonna keep cool for the most part, and it hasn't burned, you know. So anyways, spliced it in right there. I was gonna install inline fuse right here, which I haven't done because the inline fuse that I got the big fuses for the small inline fuse, so I need to get a new one. I mean, I have them in the shop. I'll just pick them up tomorrow, get it done, but it should be fused. You need half an amp. My alternator in particular takes about 0.25 of an amp. Okay, just FYI. So I'm probably just gonna do a 1 amp, because if it gets cut, it's gonna short. So this wire goes over here. So this wire. Now you remember the module. Here it is. In from the alternator, or in from the battery, and back to the alternator. Now, let's run the demo. Where are my car keys? Oh, let me shut my headlamp off. Yes, I prefer a headlamp. I'll make a video and show you everything I got in here, but for now, this is all you need to know. So, yes, it is kind of a mess. So look at the voltage. That's in default mode, plus the engine is hot. You can see the temperature of the engine. I just drove home, okay? That's your default voltage. On a hotter day, it goes lower. It goes about 13.3 to 13.5. This switch, I'm mounting, see the two holes I'm mounting right there. I have two alternators. The other alternator is 14.2. It's not on this line because that's a 2-pin alternator. They sent me the wrong one. I'm currently in talks of getting the correct alternator, which will also go on this same circuit. Essentially, but anyways, so here's the white wire. This is what turns it on. So right now it's completely off. This is the sense wire is just going straight to the battery, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this guy on. It's kind of hard. Immediately you see, oh, and I got to rev the engine. Immediately you see the voltage shoot up to 14.1, 14.2, right? Okay. Now, oh my god, I'm going to bump. I'm going to have my volume as loud. And, okay, yeah, I know the installation doesn't look clean, whatever. I don't care as long as it works. It's my van, my project. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my voltage up even higher. See, now it went up to 14.7. And then I flip it down, I went back to 14.2. Now you gotta keep in mind, it's warm, so it's not gonna get any higher. Now I can get other diodes with a higher resistance, but you got to keep in mind, though, I don't want anything with a higher resistance. Like, if I go any higher, it's going to get in the 15s. It already will get to the 15s when the engine's cold. Right now, the engine's warm, and in idle, it doesn't really perform as well. See, that's off, on, and then I'm going to do this. 14.2 even, and then I'm going to kick it up. 14.8, 14.8. Trust me, if I shut my amps off, using this toggle, should go a little higher, at least give me a solid 14.8, but 14.9 now it dropped because I stopped revving. But yeah, I just want to show you that's how the circuit works. You can use any diode. As I said, I see people using 6 amps diodes. You don't need it. I ran my fluke on it. That alternator's barely pulling anything. It's just sensing. It's like 0.025. And I'm even using a 1 amp fuse, so whatever. Anyways, that's it. Just want to show you that. If you have questions on how to make this so it's clean like this, just let me know. I actually have all the parts to do it, and I don't mind mailing it to you if you mail me a stamp or whatever. I don't care. I have all the parts. I can make this for you. But if you want to make it yourself, show you exactly what to do and how it's done. It's not a big deal. And then, like, I'm going to obviously tuck it away back here somewhere, and then put my toggles right here and here. Top, bottom. Done deal.